streaming. Tell me what you know about. Tell me what you know about. Night there is nothing. Night there is nothing. You gotta wait with it. You gotta wait with a room full of sorrows. Room full of sorrows. Room full of sorrows. Room full of sorrows. Oh my gosh, I can hear like my bird chirping. That's crazy. I mean, tell me what you know about streaming. All right, oh, this should be
All
good.
black people aren't going to be the same.
Cool, and I agree with you. And that's why I'm in the disagree column. I don't need that kind of foolishness around the
All right,
children.
let's fight. What's up? What's up?
Oh yeah.
Run over here. I thoroughly enjoy fried chicken. I love it. You know, I understand the stereotypes about it and all that kind of stuff, but I love it.
I just don't really like.
You see this girl right here? No. Sorry, this girl. She's lying. She's lying. Okay? This girl right here, is lying. She's definitely lying.
Like fried food. I'm not really a fan of chicken. I've never ate it, so.
You've never had fried chicken?
I have had it. I just
Oh.
I don't enjoy it. I don't really eat fried foods. I try to eat pretty healthy, so.
There is nothing wrong with white people wearing dreads. 3, 2, 1.
I feel like I'm always on the wrong side of the room. Look, I'm with you.
Would you guys be offended if I had dreads, since I'm biracial, since I'm half black and half white? So where is the line? Like if someone's a quarter black?
I'm not gonna sit there and come.
I don't think it's wrong with like white people having dreads. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
To your face and be like, you're not 100% black, therefore you can't. Like, that's not my place.
Exactly. Even like if she's mixed, right? I think she could rock dreads. Like I don't see nothing wrong with that.
However, if you're a white person and you have dreads in your hair, it's like, what does that mean to you? And you're not even wearing them right. Like, you don't even wash them.
I just don't see how a race can own a hairstyle. To be honest, like, hair is hair. There's all kinds of hairstyles in Africa. I still don't think that, like, a single race group can say, this one hairstyle, nobody else can do it but me.
Kanye West is invited to the cookout.
Oh, Jesus.
3, 2, 1.
This cookout needs to just die. Like, no more cookouts. No, bruh, just go home. Like, there ain't no cookout.
I'm sorry, I strongly agree because I I don't like the idea of perpetuating this concept that all black people have to be the same and think the same and act the same. I don't think he's fully understood. People like Kanye are creatives, and he uses like creative speech. And some people just take him at face value, or like kind of like the literal sense of what he's saying. And if you did that, every creative could be taken the wrong way.
I disagree with that, Deep. Like, I don't think that he's so creative and that his words are being misinterpreted. Like, he's making very specific phrases, like black people chose to be slaves. That's completely untrue, and in my opinion, that's just unacceptable.
But I think that's people misunderstanding what he's saying. I
How
really
would you
don't think he's
interpret
trying
that,
to.
though?
Yeah,
How do
Now, okay. The way I interpreted it when he said that was like, if we really wanted to like fight, we would get out of it. That's what I think he meant. I think he means like, if we would have gotten like collectively, if we would have all put up a good fight, we would have gotten out of it. That's what he means. I think that's what he meant by that. I don't think he means like, oh, like we wanted to, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but I think like being that we were so divided, not divided, but so like, well, we felt so helpless, and at the time we was divided, you know, morale was very low as far as like being black back then. So it's like, you know, we had little hope. Oh, we was very like religious at the same time because of brainwashing and all this stuff. So, you know, and you know, that's like a big sin too, to like kill you, you know, to like kill yourself and all this stuff. So it's like, it was like we felt trapped, right? It was like a sense of like, oh well, we couldn't. There was no way to get out of it. Maybe one day I'll, you know, soon Jesus will come, so we won't have to, you know, deal with this forever. Maybe, you know. At the same time, they also had like laws, and they also had like in the Bible was, you know, I think they switched the Bible around and made it seem like, oh, you gotta obey your masters and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. So a lot of like, especially like if you was born a slave, that was like instilled in your mind to be like, oh well, I gotta be obedient because God wants me to be obedient. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of brainwashing as far as that. But I think when he means like early, like maybe like early on, like I think like if that's what he means, like if black people would have fought, like actually fought, we would have gotten out of it. But yeah,
you
I don't know.
interpret that?
No, I think what he's saying is there's a mindset where you know where like
Here, so okay, like he was trying to say it in the term of like, you know, it was a choice for you to stay there when you knew that you could have done whatever else to get out, and maybe you would have ended up dead, but it would have been better than being a slave. So I don't, it's not like I'm, whoa.
This is not them talking to Kanye. This negates the millions of people who did.
Don't you believe that today there are people whose mindset they're corporate slaves, or they're people?
But you gotta be
who are-
careful with the language you use. Kanye's an artist. He's a lyricist. So you can't say stuff like that because
he's using
some people
metaphors.
haven't learned their history yet. And some people don't know that it was millions and millions and millions of blacks who fought oppression, who fought slavery.
But you're right in that he needs to be more conscious of his word choice because there's not everybody who's gonna understand that.
And that's why I say somebody as smart as Kanye, I think he's doing this for shock value and for money. And if he's doing that, he's setting people back. And that's why I can't rock with him on that.
What scares me is the second somebody speak in PC or not, or they're able to articulate what they're trying to say well or not, that they're excluded from cookouts and from a culture and from your identity. And I think that's scary because I'll tell you right now, the more we treat people who are different and isolate ourselves even, I think the worse it is for us long term. And to be honest, we're gonna drive more and more people to have closeted feelings and emotions. And this goes back to people saying like would you rather have a racist next to you that's hiding it, or would you rather have a racist next to you that's letting you know how they feel and you know where they're coming from?
Cool, and I agree with you. And that's why I'm in the disagree column. He can come eventually once we have some conversations. But right now, I don't need that kind of foolishness around the children.
Police target black men and women. 3, 2, 1.
Huh. Police target black men and women. Well, I mean, so So like the foundation of cops back then, like they didn't have cops like that, right? Like they had like sheriffs and stuff like that. But the foundation, like the origin of police was to catch slaves. Okay? That was the whole like doctrine of it, was to catch runaway slaves. So in a way, yes. And it's like I don't know why in like 20, in modern day it's still like kind of a thing. Maybe not so much now, right? Because it's been brought to the limelight. But back in like the 90s and like, well, I would say from like hell, even like I'll say like maybe like the 50s or the 60s, right? That when the whole civil rights thing was going on, and up until like the early or late 90s, even past then, right? It's been like cops like mostly going after, catching, arresting, and you know what I mean, and going after people of color. Let's not lie, let's not BS, okay? It's not BS. If it was times where like if you was walking down the wrong neighborhood, I'm talking recently. I'm talking back in like the 90s, right? If you walking in the wrong neighborhood, like if you walking downtown in New York, cops would stop you and say, "Hey, like what are you doing here?" Like, stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say they definitely did target black men and women for sure, cuz if they seen a white person walking around downtown and a black person walking around downtown, they would definitely stop the black person and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" For no reason. I personally was involved in something like that where I'm literally walking. They stopped me. They asked me, da 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 da, and man, I'm downtown. Okay, this is 2009 at the time. I'm walking downtown. They stopped me. Whatever, whatever. I got a summons, right? So now I gotta go to court, and yeah. But yeah, I'm like, this is the middle of 14th, no, not 14th Street, 19th Street. Okay, it is nighttime. It's probably like 9 o'clock or so, whatever. And there's so it's me, white people, and all these other people, and I just happen to get stopped, right? Oh, surprise, surprise. And yeah, that's what happened. So yes, they definitely target. It's a lot of prejudice, right? They think, oh, a black guy, whatever, around this neighborhood too. Maybe he has drugs, right? Exactly.
I said strongly agree. It was created to monitor the minority in the group. Back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, it was the Irish, it was Italians, and so it's ingrained into the system of policing. And that's the
Exactly.
problem. I think we have to reframe what policing is now. And until we do that, it will always be targeting people of color because that's what it was created to do.
Exactly.
I see it as like there's a little bit of a socio-economic piece to it. It's like kind of saying the SEC mostly prosecutes white people. Through like years of institutional racism, where there's poverty and there's communities that are kind of like have created this like perfect storm of issues, like whether it's legal issues, people robbing each other, selling drugs or whatnot. The idea is if you police that neighborhood more, you're going to have more of them arrested.
Can I ask you, Deep? Can I ask you, like, do you feel like there are equal amount of arrests happening on Wall Street than there are happening in the hood?
No.
Like the white collar like crimes
No,
are I
definitely
do
not.
think they're less like monitored and less but without having all the data that I need. But I do feel that they don't suffer as much consequence
They don't.
when they commit crimes.
That's very true. You got to look at the prison industrial complex here too in the U.S. That's huge business. So, and if you look at a group of citizens that have been perceived as no value having to society or whatever, okay, boom, we're gonna push them, we're gonna pipeline them into that system.
Yeah, and I also think that, the qualifications to become a police officer are so low. And it's like, my life is literally in your hands, man. Like, if I get pulled over, maybe that will be the day that I go home to be with the Lord. And I think that that's really tough for me because you don't want to be distrustful of the police. But they're so incredibly distrustful of us that it's like, you could literally kill me.
My father worked in law enforcement, and he's a black man. So there are some law enforcement officers that don't feel that way. However, I think a lot of it does have to do with fear and the fear of black people. So I think that if we kind of address that fear level and that.
Yeah, I always wondered that. It's like they act, I don't know, like they act like they like we have superpowers or something. Like what? Like, huh? I never understood that. Like I never understood like why like you would need like 5, 6 cops armed, well, with guns pointed at a dude, telling him to get down, get down, get down. Like I never understood that. I'm talking about like 5 dudes with pistols, and then it's like 3 in the back with rifles. Like I never understood that.
We didn't portray black people, especially black men, as big, scary guys. That would change a lot of stuff.
I act differently around people who aren't black. 3,
Hmm.
2.
Do I? No, I don't think I do. Nah, I don't think I do. I don't really change my mannerisms around people. Nah, I don't know. I understand that some people do that to like, sometimes you gotta know when to turn it on and off. But nah, I don't act different around people that aren't of color. Nah.
You moonwalking? Which one? How you gonna moonwalk? Which one are you going?
I agree that I act differently around people that aren't black just because, like, corporate America doesn't want to hear me talking, doesn't want to hear me speaking in slang, and I am not happy about it. Like, I wish that it was different, but I feel like I need to do to fit into that group.
I strongly disagree. I am me wherever I go. I'm
Yeah.
a proud black man, and I'm gonna speak my truth every day of the week. If you don't like it, shit, it ain't on me. That's on you.
Now, it's a difference between the way you act and the way you speak, right? Like if you speak to, like I'll, like if let's say if I'm in the office, right, and if I see a fellow person of color or whatever, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm gonna speak the same, but I'm not gonna like overdo it. You know what I mean? Or I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be like, yo, what up? Da da da, dap him up, whatever. But like, if it's like, wait a minute, I might say, it depends on who it is too, right? Like, hey, what's up? Or, I might do a head nod or something like that. But I won't like go overboard. Like, I won't be like, yo, what up, and then be loud. And sometimes you gotta be, you can't be like, can't like change. You can't, like I said, you can't overdo it, right? You gotta stay professional. Whatever. Even like towards another person of color, like don't. But you're at work, okay? Don't be going crazy. Just be you. Be respectful of the workplace. Don't be cursing and saying the N word and all this stuff. Some people don't care. Some people do. I'm like a lot of my coworkers do it, and I'm like, yo, just like, dang, like, chill out, man. Like, you don't need to be throwing that word around like that, like, But yeah, at the same time, I don't know if it's like home training or whatever, or like, but yeah.
You. And I feel like it's a disservice to anyone I'm around if I'm not being my authentic self. Because my white friends might want to hang out with me because I'm black. They want some flavor. So if I go in being something totally different, then
There's two
hey.
different things. There's two different things. One thing is, are you changing yourself, or are you changing how you're communicating who you are? And I'm changing how I'm communicating who I am, and I still remain the same.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, you have to like change. You gotta watch the way you communicate with people, right? Because what I might say to a fellow brother, right, may come off as offensive or something is wrong, wrong to somebody else. Same way they talk to me, right? I'm sure they switch up the way they speak to me compared to like another person of non-color, right? So yeah.
Do you have a white voice?
Do I have a white voice? I know, Cole, I'm a black man, trust me. Every black person growing up in America can code switch.
Then you need to move
Exactly.
But no, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, the question was, do I act different when I'm in different surroundings? And no, but see, how would I ever be accepted if I'm always code switching? That means I'm always acquiescing to something else. You see what I'm saying? So in order to be accepted, you gotta bring you.
Do you guys, when you say code switch, do you mean you change the actual words you say, or do you mean you change the tone of your voice?
I change how I say it, and I change what I say.
Anyway, freaking bill collectors.
I'll walk into a business meeting different than how I walk into the basketball court. So
Yes,
that's me
exactly.
changing to fit the scenario to benefit the end goal. And I don't view that as a negative. I view that as me focusing on what the end goal is.
But I feel like American society has made black people operate in that fashion.
Because you gotta, it's a survival technique that we've adapted to. That's how we, in a way, we try to blend in. Low key, we try to blend in as much as we can, but we can't because it's obvious, right? Yeah, that's the reality of it. You know, same with like if a white person came to the hood, right? They a lot of times out of 10, they probably gonna act, or act somewhat hoodish, right? So they trying to like blend in, trying to survive, trying to because the nail that sticks out gets hammered.
Nobody asks white people to code switch. They can be white in America, China, wherever. They accept it. We're around like Visa. But I'm the only one that has to go around and say, oh, hi, how you doing?
I am proud to be black.
I am.
3, 2, 1.
Well, all right, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Hand clap for y'all. Yeah.
I'm glad that we all strongly agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, we can have these discussions and like
This was good.
still go home knowing that we're family, and I love being black. I love that blackness is expressed many different ways. It's not just one way.
I'm proud to be biracial. I'm proud of my immigrant half, proud of my black half. My ancestors bought their own freedom from slavery.
Yeah, I love being black. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, yeah, it presents its challenges, but I couldn't fathom being something else. So I am very proud to be an African American here in America. Yeah. This was fun.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, where is Okay, I want to see.
I don't know. Halloween is
I'm gonna see if all white people think the same. Okay.
just like a weird holiday to be dressing up as anybody else's culture.
You can say the same thing about any costume. Are you gonna tell a 6-year-old girl that she can't dress up like a pirate because she doesn't know the history of pirates? Like,
That's very different.
what?
That is different. That's what? Technically, they had there was Portuguese and Haitian pirates. They had all kinds of pirates.
White people have culture. 3, 2.
I would say yeah. I think like all races have a culture to some extent. Yeah.
1.
We're all technically white. If you're from England, if you're from Australia, if you're from wherever, South Africa, we all have these crazy places we come from and these people are around and we get those ideas from those people. But that doesn't mean us as a whole have no culture.
But as a white person, it's not really a culture. You can have culture like I'm hella Irish, obviously, and that's a culture. But just being white is not it's not a culture. I can't relate to you just because you're white.
I think you could say that for any ethnicity though. If we were all black, could I relate to you guys if just because of the color of our skin?
Yes, because they go through very similar experiences, like they'll get discriminated against, and you're not getting discriminated against because of your skin color. They can both relate to that.
But I also feel like with culture, we branch out, we try different things, we want to do different things. So maybe we've lost a little bit of our culture.
Maybe we're creating a new culture.
There you go.
I believe in reverse racism. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know what that is.
We can explain it.
Okay, what is it?
I'll stay here then.
Before I decide.
Reverse racism is like someone being racist against you because you are white. Like, do you believe that someone can be racist against a white person?
Yeah.
I grew up where it was completely like Hispanic culture. I was constantly made fun of because I was white. Oh, white people can't dance. White people look stupid, whatever.
They shouldn't say white people can't dance, but
And then-
they can't dance.
No, yeah, I
They
can't
shouldn't
dance.
say it.
Just putting that out there. But I mean, like, being honest though, like they would say those mean things to me and more hurtful things than that. It's like
I think like every race has like that's like a stereotype, you know. That's just like saying that all black people could jump, all white people can't jump, you know, little stuff like that. All black people like watermelon, you know what I'm saying? All white people don't season their food, you know. That's like saying something like that, but yeah, it's bull crap.
a hard pill to swallow because if I turned around and said black people can't dance, I'd get hell for that. But then if someone says the same words to me, it's somehow okay because
You have to look at the
I
difference.
mean, I
of it,
can't
though.
really dance.
And
so
I
I
relate
don't-
to you. I grew up with all Latino or black friends. I had very few white friends. And yeah, I got made fun of for being like the white girl. I was gringa. And I didn't take offense to it because the huge part about racism is that there's hate and oppression behind it. And as a white person in America, I do not feel oppressed.
And I definitely think that we should take the log out of our own eyes before worrying about the sawdust in other people's. Like, I totally agree with that, but there is sawdust, so that's kind of just what I'm saying.
For me, I feel like anything we do can come out racist to any other type of race. But at the same time, if they say something mean or racist to us that we feel is racist, it kind of
supposed to
gets
be
brushed
okay.
off.
When I think of the word racism, I think more towards oppression, so that's why I'm in the disagree. Like, I'll deal with someone just being mean to me, but whatever.
Focusing on race divides us. 3, 2, 1.
Focusing on race divides us. What is it? Wait, but what would that mean? Like, focusing on race divides us. Focusing on race. Oh, does it mean like? How about to say like I don't know. I thought it meant like some white supremacy thing. I don't know.
I think it's important to focus on race in order to bring us together. There is a race issue in America, and if we just avoid it altogether and pretend like it's not happening, nothing's going to change, in my opinion.
I kind of was thinking about the question differently because if all I'm thinking about when I meet someone is, oh, I'm white and she's not white and I'm white and she's not white, like that for me, that's like what focusing on race is.
Yeah, we're never gonna be happy unless we just like all work together just to like treat each other like each other. You know, like there is no race.
Yeah, and that sounds great, but it's like we're not there. We're not there. I feel like people who have that perspective might also say like, oh, I don't see color, or try to have that attitude. I don't think that helps anybody. I think we need to respect each other's backgrounds, and like that is only gonna happen if
we see color,
do see color.
yes.
We do like appreciate everybody's differences.
Cultural appropriation is real.
Yeah,
3,
definitely.
2, 1.
Yeah, I think cultural appropriation is very real. You see all the time, like Coachella, we're in LA, and you see people in the Native American headdresses without knowing how important that is to Native people.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a difference between respecting the culture and completely disrespecting the culture. But then also, if you want to dress up on Halloween like a geisha because you like the costume, you think it's a beautiful costume, that I wouldn't say is...
I wouldn't do that.
What? That's the same thing. It's traditional clothing. Why would you wear someone else's traditional clothing? Like, unless you're like attending an event like that. But why would you just like dress up as like, yeah, that's weird.
I think if you're gonna go and dress up as a geisha without knowing the importance of it, it's
Yeah.
just being like, well, this is cute, like I'm gonna put this on. And also,
Exactly.
even if you did know the importance and you're like, I don't know, Halloween is just like a weird holiday to be dressing up as anybody else's culture.
Exactly. What? Like, of all the costumes, you're gonna dress up as like somebody's traditional clothing. Like, that's weird. Like, you could be freaking a Power Ranger. Like, why dress up as like something that you have no link to. And even if you did, it's still like kind of weird. Like, why would you just wear traditional clothing on Halloween when the whole point of Halloween is to like kind of not do that, you know?
Say the same thing about any costume. Are you gonna tell a 6-year-old girl that she can't dress up like a pirate because she doesn't know the history of pirates? Like,
That's very different.
well, so it's just like,
That's very different. Those are children.
I think it's a lot about intention because I think wearing that thing at Coachella, like I feel like I would see that as that person mocking someone.
Well, even if they don't intentionally mean it, it's still offensive.
I should be able to say the N-word while singing along to a song. 3, 2, 1.
Listen, we know, okay? We know. We know when we not around, y'all say it. Some of y'all say it, not all of y'all. Some of y'all say it, and it's okay, all right? I'm just saying, I'm warning you, okay? If you're out in public, don't think you can just lie and then you'll be cool, okay? Because somebody's gonna hear it and be pissed off, all right? I'm just warning you now.
the only reason I'm at somewhat disagree is because a lot of my favorite rappers use it frequently. Like if I'm listening to my favorite Childish Gambino song, which drops it like 100 times,
Right. I know. So
you
you're
know
like
that
in the car. It's like.
it's like I'm not sitting there thinking all these horrible things about black people, and I'm like, it's just in the song, and when I'm singing, it comes out.
There's like two different forms of the word. There ends with an ER and with an A. And like with my friends, they're like, oh, you can say it with an A, like that won't hurt my feelings.
That's what people told me.
But also, like, even when I'm in the car by myself, like I still feel like it's
No. Even if someone tells you that it's okay, don't worry, you can say it this one time, no. Do not say it, all right? Not saying that it's a trick, but it's also like a test, low key, okay? You want to see if you'll cross that boundary. No. Do not do that.
it's not my place. Maybe I'll like whisper it like with an A at the end, you know, like if I'm by myself, but like out of the respect for other people, I just think it's more appropriate not to say it at all.
Do you guys think rappers should stop putting it in their songs?
You know, I never understood the appeal of that word. I never understood it. Like, it's like people are like addicted to saying that word. I never understood it. Like when I was young, I was like, oh, cool. But then now that I'm older, I'm like, I have no reason to use this. You know what I mean? That's just me.
No.
I feel like if they're
Why?
African
If you
American,
think it's wrong, though, why?
I don't think it's wrong because the history of the N-word slave owners would call black people as the N-word with the hard R at the end. If black people want to take that word and claim it as their own and claim that painful history and like be like, F you, like I'm gonna claim this word, I think they should be allowed to do that. I don't think as a white person I have that right to take a word that was derogatory towards them. They should 100% have the right to do that.
But do you think it's okay for a white person to sing the song?
See,
and
that's
say
where
that?
we're like all on the fence. It's like I feel like.
It's a word used as.
You could sing the song, but you could just mute that part of, just like YouTube, okay? Just mute that part of it's one word. Just stop. You know when it's coming up, okay? You know when it's coming up, okay? You don't accidentally be like, oh, da da da, and da 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 da. No, you know when that. That's if you know the song word for word, you know. You know when that part is coming up, so yeah, because usually that's like, yeah, that's a standout word, okay?
Like my friend basically, and like just like she said, if they want to take that back from its horrible origins, then I'm totally fine with that. But as a white person, you can't say that word
Exactly.
without feeling a certain way.
Yeah,
And so
but I have a
that's why
question.
I don't.
If they didn't put it in their songs, you wouldn't say it, right?
No, yeah.
So
Exactly.
are they causing people to say that word more often? Because she wouldn't say it if
It's
it
not
wasn't.
white people's place to tell them what they can and cannot use. So.
And to be real, like a lot of like hip hop and stuff like that, it wasn't like really catered towards to people of non-color. So you know what I'm saying? Just like how like I don't know like you don't hear like a country song, you don't hear a country artist saying that word. You get what I'm saying?
I
so sad to say because I never say it out loud, but it's the truth, is like getting pulled over by the police. I always feel like I have a little bit of a one-up because I'm white, because I'm a woman. And I feel so bad that that's the truth, but this is a real thing and it's unfortunate.
For me, as an individual, I feel like I'm not privileged. Sure, like white people background came from like being higher up on the scale, but I've gone through really hard things before. You know, I don't feel like I'm superior over other people. So as an individual, I don't feel like I'm privileged.
I think privileged, I guess I don't really think that I'm above other people. I just think that naturally I'm treated differently.
Yeah, it's like perception. It's just perceptions.
Yeah, I think that's a huge misconception. I have privilege that I didn't ask for. It's just society sees me as like the standard for whatever reason, and because of that, I get treated differently. And white privilege, you know, like you said, it's not about what you've gone through or what you experience. It's 100% how the world sees me.
Exactly. It's prejudice.
3, 2, 1.
Just be in the middle.
Yeah. Can there be a middle?
All right.
Gotta pick a side. Pick a side.
Said they're proud to be white. That's the question.
I almost went there too. It's like
I
it's
think
so
like
hard.
guiltily, like I'm like happy that I'm not oppressed, but I'm not proud of like things people
Done in the
have done
past, yeah.
When I think of being proud of something, I think of something I worked for, or that I had to do nothing to be white, absolutely nothing, and nothing was taken from me because I was white.
It's like saying I'm a proud white.
I like the way he says white. He said white. What else? You hear that T in there. White. You know what I'm saying?
White person is a completely different saying than saying I'm a proud black person. Because when you hear I'm a proud black person, I think empowerment, I think strength, I think courage, I think, you know, all these amazing things that the black community has done and accomplished throughout the years. But then when you say I'm a proud white person, already there's so
Yeah, it could come off as like on some like neo-Nazi stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how this is. I don't know. That's just a. It's just a. I don't know. It feels like a bad. Like even that. Like me thinking about it, it seems like it's like a bad. I guess like a. I don't know. It's like a tainted tone to that. You get what I'm saying? Because like you know, especially with like World War II and all this stuff, and you know, and Nazis and you know white supremacy and all this stuff. So when someone usually hears that, they're like, oof, like oh, like this guy right here, you know.
much like hate involved in that.
Thing about that is like how you said, someone who says I'm proud to be black, that's empowerment. Why aren't I allowed to be proud to be white? What makes it wrong?
Yeah, what are you proud of? Just your skin color? Because yes, that is wrong.
So you're saying I can't be proud to be white because I don't have a culture?
No,
What?
That's not what I'm saying. It's that when white people say they're proud to be white, a lot of times, at least in my opinion, they're talking about their skin color, that they're not a different race. I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
But as like we were talking about, as a proud black person, they've been oppressed, that a lot of their culture was stolen from them. And a lot of reasons that I don't like proud to be white is because it has, the Nazis used it.
Exactly.
The KKK used it. I don't want to be associated with any of those things, so I'm just gonna.
With a bunch of like hate groups and stuff like that, and like, you know, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like for example, Obama didn't have like a big like cult like following compared to like Trump, right? Trump had like, you know how that went, right? MAGA and all this stuff and da 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 da, and you know, and even with that slogan, "Make America Great Again," it had like a double. People viewed it as like in a kind of like a duality way, I guess you could say, right? Where it's like, oh, like make America. What do you mean, like bring slavery back? And then another side of it was, oh, let's, you know, boost the economy and all this stuff, you know. So I think that's yeah.
Stay away from that.
Sure, I'm not proud of like what my culture's done, but at the same time, like I would not want to be anything else. If I had to choose another race, I don't know what I would be. I'm okay with where I am, even though I'm getting backlash about being white.
mean, at the end of the day, like nobody got to choose what they are. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't know what it's like to be white. You know what I'm saying? I only know what it's like to be me. Same with them. They only know what it's like to be white. They don't know how it's like to be like me. So, you know. And unfortunately, in some cases, no matter how and on both sides, no matter how much you try to explain to someone of the opposite color, they'll never truly understand. Never. It will never truly understand. No matter how deep you think you're getting in their minds or whatnot, you'll never truly understand unless you've gone through it.
I was waiting on the food question.
Do you like Starbucks?
How many of you are vegan?
Hey guys, this is John.
And I'm Erin.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of
Middle Ground is a social experiment that brings.
I think racism is definitely not a one race against the other. It goes all ways. It's not. It doesn't matter if you're white, if you're black, if you're Asian. It doesn't matter. You could experience racism no matter what color your skin is.
I think that people have a propensity to kind of have an aversion towards what's different from them. I've been called a cracker before. I've been told I was going to get beaten up because I was white. I would argue that on a systemic level, white people don't experience racism the same way a lot of other races experience racism. But I would say on an individual level, any group is capable of being racist towards another group as well.
Yes.
So the argument against this position frequently is that racism is a system, not a sentiment in the United States. And I agree with that really strongly, but at the same time I'm Jewish and racially white and have definitely experienced racism, discrimination. The paradox is that most of that racism is coming from white people or European society, white nationalism, etc. that's directed at Jews. So I'm Dane and I'm Jewish. I'm proud of being Jewish and being connected to an ancient religion and culture, but I'm not proud to be white, I would say. White privilege, I think, is an aspect of American society. I think it exists. When I go to a job interview, I don't have to worry about my hairstyle or the way I normally speak or my name. And that's something perhaps a black person would have to worry about.
That's true, because I'm telling you now, I do not have a standard issue African-ish name. Okay, my name is German. I have a German first name and a English last name, okay? So yes. Okay, I'm sure it's probably I wonder how many interviews I went on, right? That the person probably thought I was white, but when I showed up, they probably was like, "What the heck?" Cuz I'll tell you, my first name is German as hell, like, okay? And my last name is English, so yeah, fooled you.
Can they disagree a step forward?
So I just want to say that I want to validate everyone's individual experiences.
Oh,
I do all.
and another thing too, right? You know how many freaking resumes job applications I applied for, right? Where I accidentally clicked white. Yeah, I accidentally clicked white.
Also believe that white people experience bias, prejudice, but the reason I did not step forward is because by definition, racism is tied to power and economics. You talked about systemic discrimination. I don't feel white people experience racism by definition and by actual concept.
What is the definition of racism and who wrote that definition?
In the late 1500s, early 1600s, there was slavery. They started bringing over slaves, but there was really no concept of classifying people in terms of race. It's just we're bringing these people over and they're slaves. What ended up happening is some of the slave owners who were white started mixing with some of the slaves. And now here you have these black people that look like the people that are owning things. So they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. The theory of race was formed to classify a group of people who would be lesser than and have less economic power. And this would be imposed against them for hundreds of years. So that has not been the white experience in this country, but it does not invalidate the things that white people experience. It's just not racism by definition. Is it prejudice? Is it bias? Is it wrong? Yes.
Mine is simple. If one person treats another person differently because of the color of their skin, to me, that's racism. I will tell you that I was stopped by the police plenty of times when I was a young man. And I will also tell you that I then decided to spend 35 years as a policeman. I'll tell you that I stopped lots of kids coming home from school. Depending on who it was that I stopped, the first thing out of their mouth would be, "You only stopped me because I'm black." And I would say, "You're driving a sports car with a back window that's this big. I can't see who's driving, and I stopped you because you're doing 95 and a 55. I had no idea who I was pulling over until I stopped you. Now, if I treat you differently because you're black, then I'm a racist. But if I write you the same ticket that I was going to write you before I knew who was behind the wheel, I'm not."
So I'm glad you used that example, and I want to commend you for your service.
But yes, okay, I agree what he's saying, but like, you know how many like time, you know, it's a lot of times where a white person will commit a crime or something like that, and they get a slap on the wrist, right? Let's be real, okay? Let's be real. And we see it all the time. We're like, where even when someone gets locked up, right? Like you compare like a black person's crimes to like a white person's crime. The white person got way worse crimes, but receive less time. But the black person, oh, you know, maybe like, you know, they get another 5 years, or you know, more or something like that. So yeah.
For our country, but I do want to say, because I've actually taught classes for the LAPD and for their cadets about these issues. But what I can say, which is a statistic, and which is also a fact, is that 60% of our prison population is African American.
Different issue.
Yes, but let me finish, please. Is African American males, right? When you go into a system and you are kept in that system and you're cycled through probation and there is a systematic sequence of oppression, that's not happening to white males. So it's bigger than just the stop itself. It's the system. My name is Sierra. I'm an actor, a speaker, and a human rights activist.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm very proud to be African American, to be black. The challenges.
And on top of that, a lot of the guys that's in there are innocent. Yeah, a lot of them are innocent. They probably had nothing to do with the crime or whatever, or they took the fall for someone else's crime, or they just got blamed for it. You know what I'm saying?
That
Wrong place, wrong time.
Being black, also being a black woman, are very real. I'm at a place in my life where I'm acknowledging these things are real. Discrimination
What up,
is
Sam?
real.
Like just like the incident in it was an incident in Central Park. With actually they have a series on Netflix. It's about like these group of boys. They got blamed because like some woman, I think some woman like she got like raped or something like that. And then I think like come to find out like years later, I think either like she lied about it or it wasn't them at all. But a lot of them spent like years. I'm talking like 15, 20 years in jail for this. And to find out it wasn't even them. Like they never even, but they covered it up. They made it seem like, oh yeah, that was them, da da da. And the whole time the cops knew that it wasn't them, that they wasn't even in the same part of the park at the time. But they still was like, no, well, we can't show the world that we messed up and all this stuff. So they just left them in there.
The systematic oppression of black
Some of them like killed themselves. Some of them got killed. It was crazy.
people is very real, but I will succeed in spite of that.
The police force is foundationally racist.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Like I said in the last video, that was the whole point of the police, was to catch slaves. So yes.
I want to start off by saying I don't think that every cop out there today is racist.
Same.
I think there are a lot of them who
Yeah,
are
yeah,
really
definitely
doing
not,
good
no.
work. What I know from the establishment of the policing in the United States, that is directly from the slave catchers who were hired to.
I'm gonna wait until Sam gets back. All right, Sammy, you back? Go back.
I don't think that every cop out there today is racist.
Same.
I think there are a lot of them who are really doing good work. What I know from the establishment of the policing in the United States, that is directly from the slave catchers. who were hired
Exactly.
to
Catch runaway slaves. Yes. Yes. All right. They wasn't hired to find the white people. There's, you know, from what I know, there wasn't no, like white slaves back then, at least, right? So yes, that was their whole purpose. That was the whole purpose of the police. Okay.
And bring them back home.
Yeah, I agree that all cops aren't racist. I had plenty of interactions with police that were fine, but I was told by a former police officer who was, a cop who decided he didn't want to do that anymore, that, the training is pretty much specialized for only colored people, especially black people, that if you're around them, they're the most dangerous, so you have to act in certain...
Exactly. And that's why cops are like, not usually, but like cops are more hostile towards a black person, right? It's just the training. It's just, it comes back all the way down. It descends all the way from back then, from slavery, right? Because you don't know what he's gonna do, especially if it's like a big, strong ass slave, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he could, he wants to get free, blah blah blah. He probably will kill you, right? Let's be real. He'll probably will kill you. So he's trying to get the hell out away. So we're not gonna take any chances. Put your hands up, right? Like
situations or react in certain situations,
I think I just really want to emphasize that I really think that there are some officers who are white that don't even believe that they're doing anything that may be racially motivated because they're simply doing what they were taught to do.
I come from a police family, and I'd like to add they do offer diversity trainings in the academy. So either it needs to be more extensive, or maybe we need to take it a step back and fix the selection process, because that process could be inherently racist. Hello, my name is Nia.
yes, and it's a lot of like policing is very prejudiced. Let's be honest, all right? It's a lot of prejudice involved. Like before you even like I was saying earlier, it was an instance where I was legit downtown in New York, right? It's me, white people walking around, and the cops just happened to stop me, right? Happened to stop me. Next thing you know, I got a court summons, right? It's like this is why we say it's systematic, right? Because it's a court summons, right? So you go to court. A lot of times, what usually happens, and this is why like a lot of people go to jail, is that they don't go to court. Next thing you know, they have a warrant. Next thing you know, and then it snowballs. That's what happens usually, and yeah.
And I am black. I'm proud of my race because when I look back historically at what people
Or
of
they
my
forget.
heritage have gone through.
Or they forget. Like a lot of times they freaking like they'll issue you a summons, and then it's like you have to wait like 3 months. So let's say if something major happens, right, where like you completely forget about the whole ordeal. Next thing you know, you're on month freaking 6. You're getting a letter in the mail like, from court saying you missed it. You missed a second time, whatever. Next thing you know, you're wanted. Well, you're not wanted, but you have a warrant. So next time you actually get stopped and caught, they could lock you up for that. Yeah, man, that's I mean,
And to see where we are now, it's remarkable, and it definitely pushes me to continue to be resilient and innovative as they were.
Historically, people formed groups, villages. Some people were hunters, some people were farmers, and then you had whoever was going to protect the group. And over hundreds of years, thousands of years, whatever it is, that's how we wind up having cops, firemen, armies, and navies. Community policing as a theory is a good idea. As a practice, it has some hiccups. When I show up at your house because you and your husband got into it and he beats you up and I'm friends with him. So do I want to take him to jail? He's my friend. Or I live in the same neighborhood and I go deal with some guy who's a really bad dude and he says, I know where you live, I know where your kids are. So to some degree, we have to have a little separation. This is going to get into a hot button topic, but I will tell you that, you know, when I watched the horrible video of George Floyd, I will tell you that I can justify many of the things that happened, but I cannot justify 9 minutes on his neck or back. But what I can also tell you is I, as a policeman, and this is my personal opinion only too, the officer who was on him for 9 minutes, he probably spent too much time in the same neighborhood dealing with the same problems over and over again.
Yes. And actually, what the big, like, it's not even a, I guess it's a rumor, right? Is that the cop actually knew him and he had dealt with him, not dealt with him before, but it was basically beef. Like, they had beef. Like, so the cop didn't like him for whatever reason, I don't know. But yeah, he didn't like George Floyd. So that's another big thing that came out later on.
That he became jaded.
Isn't that what being a police officer is?
It's a social service job.
And you're assigned to that district or that community.
But I think you need to move around so that you get to see other things. You don't become that jaded.
Yeah, exactly. I get what he's saying. You don't become friendly, like not friendly, but it's so like if someone commits a crime and they say, oh well, da 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 da, and then you won't be like, nah, he wouldn't do that. You know, you get what I'm saying? That's probably what he means. Like, just keep it moving around. Like, don't have a routine of spots that you go to, which I understand. That's it shouldn't. You should definitely move around as a cop. That's just like having a security guard that works at a hospital all day, right? And he knows every single body. You know what I'm saying? So if a nurse or something gets fired and he doesn't know about it, but the nurse comes in and he's like, oh, come on, you come in. Next thing you know, the nurse has a gun or something like that. You get what I'm saying? You just you want to stay on your toes pretty much.
No matter what your race is, we have to be integrated all together with the community. And it doesn't have to be community policing, but we all have to understand each other more. I think cultural competency would be very helpful. Like, that's my issue. Whether or not the foundations of the police force was or still was racist, now we can change that, but it starts with cops. Like, at the end of the day, it's the bad police officers.
It's also weird because you also want cops that have good relations with the neighborhood as well, right? So if you get like some new cop that cycles into that neighborhood, of course he's going to be on edge, right? Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He probably heard, oh, that's a bad neighborhood. So now he's even more on edge. So, you know what I'm saying?
That are our issue. Not all police officers, but the bad police officers, we need to vet them out, and the good police officers, we need to, encourage them to be amongst the community.
How do we vet them out?
By making the police unions accountable, because I feel like that demographic of officers, they're actually making things a lot worse for the other officers.
Exactly,
yes. To do their...
Yes. Like the cops that, like, for whatever reason, every time they lock someone up, someone has a broken nose or their body cam isn't on, or, it's little stuff like that they need to watch out for. But cops, they're like this, right? They're like this. If one cop says something, they usually get them up out of there. They look out for one another, and that's a big issue, is that they look out for one another and for bad reasons. They cover up a lot of stuff
to do their job. I think that we need to get some type of real accountability, that I don't think the police should be policing themselves.
Exactly.
So when those cops that aren't upholding their oath, they can be properly removed instead of getting all of these passes.
The bad police officers,
And one thing that should not happen is a police department investigating itself. I don't know who the hell thought of that. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but that makes absolutely no sense. No sense. Like that's sorry, that's I was about to say the R word, but that yes. Okay, that's stupid. Why would you have an internal investigation on your own department, knowing that the person that's doing the internal investigation doesn't want to get X'd out, or next thing you know he's fired or dead, right? Like that doesn't make any
hate the
sense.
term, like-
They need to have their own. They need to have someone from the outside coming in and investigating, not internal investigation. Like that's
The
stupid.
bad apple. It's like, no, you're a faulty grenade. Like, you're ruining your whole department reputation. I feel like I was held up to higher standards working at Whole Foods sometimes. I got 3 chances out, but like, Derek had so many. 17 reports before George 17 Floyd. reports. It's like, get him out of there. What are you guys doing?
Exactly.
Do you think police officers,
Yes.
and I genuinely am curious, do you think they should get paid more?
I think police officers should get paid more. I also think police officers should do less. Why do I get sent to all of the mental health cases? Why do I get sent
I agree.
to all of these things? Now, I'll tell you why I get sent to them, is because we'll stop sending the police there, and then something horrible and tragic is going to happen, and they're going to say, why didn't we have a cop there?
Do you think we need to have different divisions like mental health and
Yes.
just other, or maybe even specific police that are just for the schools? Like, do you think that that would help with a lot of the
Yes.
issues?
Yes.
No. We
I
do
think
have
they do.
specialized police officers in certain things. But if we keep specializing and we get so compartmentalized that I can't go, I'm right across the street from you when
Oh, I
you're
see what
screaming
you're
for
saying.
help. Yeah. That's not what I do.
But I mean, but you're still at the end of the day, you're still a cop. That's just like with the military, right? Like in the military, yes, we're a soldier first, right? But we all have our individual jobs. Like some people fly planes, some people drive trucks, some people fix guns. But at the end of the day, when stuff hits the fan, everybody knows how to shoot. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they at least, I mean, just like how they have the bomb sniffing dog unit, right? Like the canine unit or the anti-terrorism unit. They have so yeah, I mean, I'm sure like if a canine unit canine dog handler, right, sees someone getting beat up across the street, he's gonna go help, right? I mean, that's what he should do. He shouldn't be like, oh well, sorry, my dog only sniffs for drugs. Like what?
Or go find a guy
That's
that deals
stupid.
with screaming women or whatever it is. My name is Jimmy, and I am a retired police officer. I'm not going to tell you that there are no racists on the police department. I don't think blacks were historically treated fairly under the law. I think that we have made great progress, great strides. I think we have to continue.
Yeah, it's not my. Yeah. Sorry, that's not my field.
Continue to get better, but I also think we
Because at the end of the day, everybody starts off. Well, all cops, right, should start off with the same training, and then that's how it is with the cop units, right? You don't just jump straight to a freaking lieutenant or captain, right? You're at first you're a street cop usually, and then then you could branch off. You take tests, and then you branch off, but you're still a cop at the end of the day.
probably see racism to this day in places where it maybe isn't.
I sometimes wish I was a different race.
Nah. Oh, but she's like
Say
mixed
not
though.
so much these days, but definitely 100% when I was a kid, I wish I was white. I grew up with my white mom. I didn't see my black side of my family after a certain point. I grew up in a small town. I was often the only student of color, definitely the only black kid. And I had this kinky hair. I couldn't figure out how to work with it. And everybody also would call me an Oreo. It was always just being othered. And so being a kid, you just want to fit in. And for me, I wanted to be white. I just wanted to look like my mom, wanted the nice straight hair, and I just wanted to feel like.
Now, here's the thing, right? what I noticed with a lot of like mixed people, right, is that they could play both sides, right? Like some mixed people, they act on their white side. Some of them act on their black side. You know, depending on their group, depending on who they're around at the time. I notice that happens a lot with mixed people.
Included.
Like even like online, right? They'll say, "Oh, like I remember I was on TikTok and I said, "Oh, that's a beautiful black girl, right?" And this mixed girl says, "She's not black, she's mixed." I'm like, "What? Like, what the hell? Like, okay, like, I'm just saying she looks. I mean, yeah, she's mixed, but clearly she's more on her black side than yeah. So that's what I was like,
I remember in elementary school, like I was thinking, no man is ever gonna like me because I freaking look like this. And I just remember hating my hair because as soon as puberty hit, it was just, it just blew up and people kept on asking, do you even need a pillow to sleep at night? I'm like, I can't stand these questions. I can't do this. I'm Jordan and I am biracial. I think being biracial is definitely like living in the in-between because culturally, yes, I grew up white and I completely know that. Like I was raised by my white mother, but then there's also a part where race is perceived and it's what people put on you and how they respond to you in your everyday life.
It's so interesting because I grew up in predominantly non-Black communities, and for some reason still like being the minority at home in the family as well as in school and in the world, I was always so proud to be Black. I actually really yearned to be around other Black people. So thankfully in college that was an experience where even though we made up a small community, I was still able to, okay, this is like people who look like me.
I was in the military for 6 years, and I was usually the only Jew in my battalion. And I think that isolation produced a sort of pride and understanding of who I am and where I come from. So
I have never wanted to be anything different than what I was, but that's because I really never thought about it. And to your all's point, maybe, I don't know, but maybe people treated you that way because there is this sense of wanting something that I haven't ever had before. I'd love to have a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? It's different than any other car I've ever had. It's different than what I grew up with.
I think personally for me, I mean, I was actually adopted by white parents in a very diverse family. I think 6 out of the 8 of us are all adopted, all different races. I kind of have my own story apart from everyone else. And the same for everyone else that was adopted in my family. They have their own story. I always had pride in it, but at the same time, my parents are my parents no matter the color of their skin. It's the people who raised me, and they raised me just to not look at it through the lens of race, and that's what I've always done, and I've never wanted to change my race at all. I'm Joshua, and I'm Black. I've never experienced racism. I've experienced stuff from people from my own race. I grew up in a white family by white parents. I was constantly called whitewashed.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Me, but I didn't let it get to me. Being Black in America, to me, is just being an American in America, just like any other person.
White privilege exists.
I mean, America was founded by white people, for white people at the time. All of the institutions were designed to benefit white people. So, I mean, of course, white privilege lingers into society today. You can't deny that.
Where I would argue with you just a little bit is I think we throw out the term white privilege far too often for things that aren't necessarily white privilege.
I've got to agree with you completely on that one. I think there's generational white privilege for sure, but I think now it's almost used as a reason to not try as hard. If we stop doing that, just really like work for it and not use white privilege as an excuse, then we could really get somewhere as in the Black community.
I would respectfully disagree. Like, all of that is true to an extent. Like, I graduated university during the pandemic, the height of it. I went abroad for university, I got 2 degrees, I graduated with honors, learned to speak 2 languages. I should have been able to get a job right away, right? No, it took me 9 months before I was able to get a job, had to go completely outside of my field. But then when I looked at all of my white colleagues who were in my program, all of them were hired immediately.
I need to introduce you to my daughter. She's white. Took her a long time out
And
of
I'm not
college.
saying that, I'm saying
And
just
she didn't get her job in what her degree is in either.
I respect that, but my point is saying me comparing myself to the white students who were directly in my position, they're successful, I'm not.
This country was founded upon white people coming and then putting in act Jim Crow and other laws saying that if you are not white, you are genetically inferior. You are not even a person. And some of those laws are still, and those systems are still.
Like, there's legit, like, if you couldn't, like, I remember, like, someone told me that black people, like, we couldn't even go to the dentist. Like, if we wanted to get our teeth, like, taken out or whatever, we had to go to a veterinarian. Did you know that? We had to go to a veterinarian because we wasn't human, right? They seen us as animals and all this stuff. So, yeah, like, that's crazy. Like, yeah. Yep, see? Look at that. You learned something new, yes. Black people could not go to a dentist. We had to go to a veterinarian because we was classified as, like, animals and stuff. Yep.
Still in place today. Two things can be true. You can have had a very hard time. Privilege is not just limited to white people, but to say white privilege doesn't exist from a historical context, to me, is respectfully absurd.
Something that I learned about recently is the privilege that exists in the medical field, specifically relating to the birthing process in giving epidurals. There was a study that's recently, or was debunked, that said that Black people have a higher tolerance for pain, which then has been falsely used by people who help support births in being hesitant to provide the epidurals for Black women giving birth. A lot of women die in childbirth. I don't know the exact statistics, so
3
again,
times more likely Black women are to die.
Thank you. The fact that I will be taken seriously, more seriously than a Black woman in my place if I should be giving birth at some point, I see that as just an absolute privilege. My name is Bryn, and I just graduated, and I'm currently gaining hours to becoming a licensed therapist. As a therapist in school, we're taught to approach things with what's called cultural humility. Cultural humility is being curious, and instead of trying to have all the answers, working collaboratively with the client to kind of understand where they're coming from.
I have been fetishized for my race.
Have I? I mean, I wouldn't know if I was or not. I wouldn't know if I was or not. Like, I don't know. Fetishized? I feel like that's more of a negative thing for, like, a woman, right? Like, I don't know. Because I think the way I see it is, like, especially, like, when we trying to, you know, we guys, right? You're trying to get some, you know what I'm saying? So we try to not get what we can. It's like, I'll put it this way. It's a lot easier for a girl to get something compared to a guy, right? So girls have more of an option. Guys, we kind of like not take what's being thrown at us, but we have less of an option to, like, we're the chasers, not the chased, pretty much, usually.
You know, the standard one, oh, you're pretty for a Black girl. I'm like, that's not a compliment. That's so weird to say.
That
And
is
like
weird to
one
say.
of the go-to pickup lines for men, they're like, oh my God, what are you? I'm like, this is not cute. I'm tired of having this conversation. This is lame. Yes, I know I have green eyes, hazel eyes. Like, let's move on.
I think Black women in particular are just extremely sexualized and fetishized. Every day I go out, I'm making sure that my outfit is, you know, okay, because I don't want to draw certain attention. The way I wear my hair, if it's in an afro, if it's in puffs, if it's in braids, I'm going to get treated differently. Yeah, every single day something happens.
So there's a form of positive anti-Semitism where Jews are perceived as like being put together, coming from money, being doctors, lawyers, and women are attracted to those sort of things. And then also too, like all Jewish men are circumcised. Some women have that preference. So I've definitely experienced it, but I feel like it's a sort of subtle, trivial thing.
Fetishize means like how like for example like some white guys, just like all right, this is a good example. Like for like some white guys go to Thailand because they like Thai women because they think they're like, and like they think sexually about them. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give me a nice little Asian girl. You know what I mean? Just because she's Asian, it's like that. Or like if a black like a white girl only gets with a black guy because he has a BBC. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. Even like if a African dates a white girl, like he's like, oh, I only want her because she's white. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. It's kind of like a trend, pretty much.
It never really bothered me, but it's occurred nonetheless.
Yeah, I've had experiences in high school, college. People ask me to stop me, mainly women. Like, oh, are you Egyptian? Or are you black in this or black in that? There's always something. It's always black in something else. And I'll let them know what I am, and they're like, oh, that's exotic. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. And that's what a lot of these like passport bros and all this stuff. That's what a lot of them do. They go over to like Thailand or what have you, and they want something exotic. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of like they don't they're not in it. They're not over there to find love. They're in there to like just to be erotic with a different kind of woman. Something like that.
My name is Dino, and I am biracial. I don't want people to think that I'm like split between being black or white. I acknowledge that I'm mixed and I'm biracial, but for the most part growing up, I was always considered black. I consider myself black. My family did as well. So I don't think we should live in a colorblind society, but I also don't think we should stay stuck and feel like we can't move forward and still thrive and accomplish things because of our skin color and where we live in America.
I would just have a question for everyone who stepped forward. I'm just curious how that's like. What's it like?
Exhausting.
It sounds exhausting.
Yeah, I think black women historically have a really interesting relationship with desirability. Culturally, it seems as we're not desired. And then when we are, we're being fetishized. So it's like, okay, we're usually not.
Exactly. This is matter of fact, a great example is right. It's like back in slavery days, right? The slave master used to sleep with the slave, okay? In secret, he would sleep with the slave. His wife would probably know about it or whatever, but he would never, he would never marry the black woman. But he liked that thing, you know what I mean? He liked that stuff, little stuff like that, because it's different. It's like, ooh, it's an allure to it.
Not desired, but now we are. Am I supposed to lean into this fetishization?
I think just being a woman, we deal with certain things every day. Specifically being a black woman, being fetishized, it's interesting because if I, especially in my industry, because I'm there to work and be professional, I'm just super professional and I don't give any attention to that at all, that kind of energy, then I'm an angry black woman. So I think that it's just really...
you can't win.
It does feel like that, so yeah, that you can't win sometimes.
Yeah, and there's also a flip side to it. It's like, for me specifically, I'm light-skinned amongst majority dark-skinned people, and people will deem me or deem other light-skinned people as a certain way, as either weaker or less than, or just like, okay, you're lighter than, so we're going to be so pro-black that we're never going to, consider you as one of us. You're just other.
Well, that like touches just on beauty standards in the black community, and that's colorism. Like I've even been told, you're beautiful, you're not black. It's just like these little things.
Or you must be mixed with something,
yes.
right?
Yeah. My name's Christina, and I'm biracial. I have been fetishized for the color of my skin on both sides. Black men will be really into me because I'm light-skinned, or other men who are not black might be into me because I am that black girl, but maybe I'm not too black, and that, for whatever reason, is appealing. Being deemed as exotic or something other is just very problematic, and that plays into a lot of issues of colorism within the black community at large.
We need reparations for the Black community.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. 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 Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a 400-year gap there, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Need a little bit of catch up or something, like, you know what I mean?
I think people need like individualized,
Like, for example, like, freaking Haiti had to pay France in reparations even though the French invaded Haiti. Like, what? What? Like, what? So we have to pay you. They basically paid them to invade them. That doesn't make any sense.
paychecks. Like I don't think that's gonna like work. But I think
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's why in Haiti there's like a lot of Haitians speak that, what was that, Creole, because it's like a mix of like it's the origin of it is French, but it's a little I don't know, a little different, but yeah, a lot of people in Haiti speak French.
pouring funds into communities who could really use it, building jobs there, more education there, like more opportunities would do so much. Like that's how I see it should be.
Anytime that Black communities in the U.S. tried to, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, they were attacked. Like, I think it was
Yeah.
in Tulsa, they bombed the city. Black Wall
Yep.
Street, it was completely destroyed. So again, something needs to be done.
When the Civil War ended, there was a representative from Ohio, I can't remember his name, but he was a radical Republican and advocated for the phrase 40 acres and a mule for every emancipated slave. So there was supposed to be reparations, and there never was.
Mhm.
And I think especially as a Jewish person, I mean, Jews received reparations for the Holocaust and are still receiving them. And in my
Exactly.
mind, there's no amount of money that will ever undo the wrong of the Holocaust. So that you could, all the money in the world will never make it right. But I think the idea and principle of reparations is good. Logistically, I don't know how it would happen.
What do you mean? Just send people checks. Just pay them. At least. Everybody else gets paid. Freaking just pay them. Like, America prints its own money. I mean, I don't know how long that's gonna last, but I'm just saying, America prints its own money. It's not like it's at this point, it's not backed by anything. Not like they have to trade for something else to print a dollar. Just send people monthly checks.
I just wanted to say the reason.
Just look up their freaking social. All right. I think what they're afraid of is that like someone's gonna like fake their identity or something like that. But still, I mean, America's already in damn debt. What difference is it gonna really make?
The reason I stayed back was because I wasn't entirely sure what was meant by reparations, but your example of the Holocaust, I would say that I agree.
Similar reason, when I think of reparations, I think of something similar to a stimulus check.
Yes.
My worry is with the lack of financial literacy, will we actually make strides? So I would love the idea of investing money into programs.
But that's the thing though. That's the thing. It's gonna be based on the individual. Of course, you're gonna have some knuckleheads that's gonna buy stupid stuff and all this stuff. But that's them. They're just gonna spend their money, be broke, spend the money. Well, get paid, be broke, get paid, be broke, and it's gonna whatever, right? And then there's gonna be some people that actually save up their money, do something with it, whatever.
Programs in underserved communities.
The point is, what I'm saying is, do something in reparating or whatever, however you would say it, in reparations for reparations. Do something, right? Freaking, I don't know. Fucking, I don't know, give us free housing or something. You know what I mean? Or something. Shoot, listen, if they gave me free housing, I'll take that. I'll be like, listen, well, I don't have to pay no bills. No bills? Listen.
Something like that. But I do have a fear that even if we did have the money, without that generational knowledge of how to take care of our finances, that it would just deplete and defeat the purpose.
But Even if that were to happen, though, I still think that that would still be the right step. You know, we'll give these people the funds or whatever. We'll give them our promise, and if they float or sink or whatever, that's on them.
Exactly.
At least,
Exactly.
we as a country took the right step.
Exactly. But they're not doing
I'm all
anything.
for money going to the community. I am for that because the communities right now are the way they are because of things in the past. But to give out checks to individual people, there's a difference between learning from the past and then still getting caught up in the past.
Now, only thing about putting money into the community, right? Now, what's been going on lately, especially in New York, right, is that they've been raising the rent so they could kick people out. They're not saying it, but that's what's happening. Like, you know who's lower class, you know what I mean, who's making less here, all right? Let's be honest, okay? So they raise the rent. The people can't pay the rent. Then they're getting kicked out, and guess who moves in? The people that could pay the rent. So it's like, you gotta be careful when you say give back to the community, because you give back, they sit there and knock down the building, make an even nicer one. Next thing you know, the rent is too damn high, and the people that got kicked out can't move back in.
I mean, if I had a time machine, I could go back in the time and be like, hey, you never gave us the 40 acres and a mule. I would be all for that, and I would get on that for the people who were affected and actually went through slavery. But in today's age, like no one's experienced it and gone through it. Yes, the communities are taking hit by that, but so I mean, I've never.
You don't think your ancestors experienced slavery?
Exactly.
I think they do, but I haven't.
Yeah, but still, you're still affected by it. Just like how like a lot of white people are still benefiting from slavery. Like a lot of them own companies, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? What, you gonna take away their business because they didn't own slaves? Like, you get what I'm saying?
I've never been in it, so why should I get a check from somebody else who never put you should be going way back.
So what about
How?
the people who are the descendants of the slave owners who are still reaping the financial benefits?
Exactly.
Their ancestors
Exactly.
in those fields
Yes.
for literally generation after
Yes.
generation. You don't think that during that time your great-grandfather could have been building a business that could be flourishing by
That-
now?
yeah.
And you have a multi-million-dollar franchise as they do.
I
Uncle
like this
Bascom
girl.
Brothers. You don't think that deserves some rectification?
Exactly. I like this. She's on point. She was on point this whole interview. All right. She was saying everything that was in my mind.
For you in the present time?
To be honest, like, no, because again, it's something that happened in the past. Again, I haven't experienced it. I'm doing fine right now. I'm doing fine, and I'm not going to be all upset over somebody else's ancestors who I don't even know who enslaved my ancestors. I don't need it.
Regardless, though, right? You do stuff. All right. So what you do now affects the rest of your generations, if you think about it, right? It's all about keeping that bloodline or whatever, that not bloodline, that generational whatever. Like, if I could be a millionaire now, more than likely my son's gonna, I could help him get a business. He could help him get a business. He could help his kids, blah, 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 and it snowballs, right? So it's like, yeah, like what is? Then again, he said he was adopted by white people, so maybe he don't understand what every other average black guy goes through or black girl goes through. But yeah,
I have no reason to have it.
So for me personally, I'm not upset about it, but I do feel my grandfather, on his side, they were the first family in the state of Texas to actually file for reparations. And for me, I'm succeeding in spite of that. But to this gentleman's point, when the government says, hey, we're gonna do a thing, obviously the government in itself saw the weight and the air of the wrong, just as the German government did. I think if I want to buy 90 gold chains, that's my business. I think it would be unfortunate, but I think that if I'm entitled to something, I think
Exactly.
it should be in the same fashion that the people of Jewish descent got it. I think it should be in
Exactly.
the same fashion
Yes.
that the people that are
Japan.
Japanese.
Yeah.
So you might think it doesn't affect you, but overall, I think that we have been greatly impacted
Yeah.
by slavery, even up to current. I just choose not to focus on it nonstop so it doesn't become something that holds me back. But I
Yeah.
definitely think it's something that we're entitled to.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That girl. What? Yo, girl, you almost caught my heart. I know she would have been a Black Panther back in the day for sure. But yeah, definitely. Like that's exactly what I'm saying. Like people don't some people like, oh, and a lot of white people like say this. They're like, oh, you guys don't need no reparations, you guys are doing just fine. Da 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 da. Meanwhile, their grandfather owned, a freaking, I don't know, a car dealership because of his great 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 grandfather owning a slave. You get what I mean? So it's like, yeah, but a lot of people don't see it like that. A lot of people don't see it. They only see what's happening now. Oh, well, you guys are free. You guys could play basketball or whatever the case may be. You guys have the same opportunities, but they don't see that. Okay, well, maybe if I had extra $400 or whatever, I could do something else or put it towards something else to help catch up in a way. But I don't know. It's yeah.
I don't know how long.
I think eventually one day it'll come, but I think some people, I don't know, some people gonna have to get their head, get we gonna have to, I don't know, we got to throw some people out of the office, like forcefully, like seriously. Excuse me. I want to see this one. I seen like a clip of it online. Okay.
I love to be with boys, of course, because I'm boy crazy, and I like to go crazy, and I like to party.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Listen, don't... Sam, behave, all right? Behave. Anybody else out there watching, behave.
The R word hurts my feelings.
I got something right here. It's called "Let's End the R word" because it's not cool to use it. Don't use it at all.
Wait. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. What was the question?
R word hurts my feelings.
Am I
got
tripping?
something right here. It's called "Let's End."
Shouldn't he be on the other side?
Because it's not cool to use it. Don't use it.
Listen, bro, you should be on this side. You should. I'm not laughing. I'm not. I'm laughing at where he's standing. Okay, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at where he's standing. Okay, he should be on this side. Okay, you should be on the side where everybody else is.
At all. That's end bullies for good.
We don't want to hear that word. Take that word out of your mouth and change it to respect.
Just don't use the R word in front of my face. It's not okay to say things.
Or don't say it at all.
Yeah. But
and keep your mouth shut and mind your own business.
Yeah.
But wasn't this whole like, I thought the R word, right, was like a actual medical term. You get what I'm saying? Like, what would you like? That's like, all right. So, what would you call Forrest Gump? No. I think the question was, the R word hurts my feelings. So that's why everybody was on the strongly agree side, but he was on he was on the yeah, he's on the other side. Yeah. That's why I was laughing at where he was standing, cuz he was on the disagree side, even though he was saying don't say the R word.
it is not okay to say things with kids with touching Zoom. Well, I would say, just go and say hello. It could be a start of a bit of a friendship.
It doesn't bother me too much, but when like a friend drives you somewhere and they use like cursing words, that sometimes can get out. I think people should ban that word, and instead of saying that R word, have the R word be respect.
I am in a relationship.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Sam, shut up, Sam. Shut up. Shut up. I know. Listen, I know what you're thinking, what I'm thinking, all right? I know you're thinking what I'm thinking, okay? Listen, I ain't say nothing, all right? I didn't say nothing. I'm gonna, I'm gonna get some. All right, I'm back. No, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. He said R for relationship.
Being romantic with my friends is pretty cool. I'm disagreeing because I had lots of exes and sometimes I want to treat myself being single.
The reason why I picked somewhat agree is because I found my love in someone that I care about.
Oh,
and I'm really
they're
happy
dating.
for that.
Aw.
But sometimes it's hard to keep my girlfriend happy.
Why is it hard to keep her happy?
Because sometimes she could be like, when she gets angry, she's usually hungry.
For me personally,
she
I
gets
do
bitchy.
have a girlfriend, but all girlfriends us out there, be happy to have what you want, because we are here to have great guys, to be great in relationship with ladies. But ladies, it's really tough right now. But for me, I love my girlfriend.
Okay.
I earn my own money.
Okay. I was trying to compute everything that he was saying. Like I was trying to like Google Translate in my mind what he was trying to say, but I still don't understand what the heck he said.
I went out my
I'm sorry,
own
I don't.
That's why I got a job. The owner of the coffee shop really likes me, and I got my own interview, and I got my own driver to make drinks and food. And ever since I dated him, it makes my heart very happy to see him grow.
It's
Aw.
very rewarding to see what she does. It makes me proud.
Aww.
I earn my own money.
Yeah,
to
she
be-
is. She's actually pretty for, you know, she's pretty. She's like a pretty
independently.
pretty girl.
Like to live on your own. And I make t-shirts.
I do earn my money. I work hard. I want to be a billionaire and a millionaire as a woman as Down syndrome as myself. I do make my money.
Wait a
I
minute.
wrote my book and I do public speaking, and then I've been doing a TV show called Born This Way. I worked really hard to be on the top, and that's what I am. And I am very, very successful career woman, and I make the way, and I go big, and I don't go home, and I follow my dream.
It's true. Us kids with special needs have dreams to follow. No matter what dream it is, do what you can do the best. Don't let anyone take you down. I love earning my own money. It feels great to know that I did a good job of working. It makes me feel happy that I did a great job. Even though I have Down syndrome, I earned that money because I earn respect. So people out there who think we can't do it, we can. and we're powerful, strong, and we can do anything we put our minds to.
Grace, do you want to share? I earn my own money.
She's doing this.
She's like making some money. Making some money.
That helps?
Yeah.
There you go. That did help you out.
I want to have children.
I don't want to have a kid just yet. Maybe when I feel the right time I want to have a kid, I will. But it's also hard to take care of them because of what I have. And it's hard for me to get up in the morning, prepare lunch for my kids and all that. It's hard. So I kind of want to get to know who I am right now and learn.
I would love to have children because I love children to have fun to play with, like to play around with them, do anything with them, and I would love to have kids to pay attention to each other because we're all here to have fun.
I like babies a lot, so lots of responsibilities to take care of the child. So I'm gonna be a great mother and teach the children how to have manners and great and having fun and explore their education. I just came over here to agree.
Okay.
I do want to have children. I do want to give my kid a life, and I want to raise them as my own. But I do not want to depend on my mom to raise my child by herself. I do want to have kids because I want to give them the life that my mother gave me.
I can take care of myself.
Well, I do take care of myself. I'm really good at cooking and cleaning after myself. Sometimes I'm not very good by keeping my room clean sometimes, but I work on towards that. I do get independent. I am like an independent woman. I like to be with my friends. I love to be with boys, of course, because I'm boy crazy. And I like to go crazy and I like to party.
Oh, she a little freak. That's what that is. She a little freaky freak.
Let's see, I'm very confident. I'm good at finding clothes and do some groceries to care yourself, like self-caring and helping people out and make people laugh and imitate from my comedy. Yep, I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian.
Oh, so you have jokes.
Yes, I do.
I can take care of myself.
We're gonna move. Go this way. Say I
Want
want
what? Help. Bath.
She needs help with her bath.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Good job, thank you. I love how
Wait, what? What just even happened there? I don't think that girl knows what the heck is going on, to be honest with you. Everybody else seems somewhat aware, but I don't think she really I don't think did she even say anything this whole time?
how I look.
I think she's just following everybody else.
The reason why I say strongly agree is because I love the way I look. I don't care what I look like. I know what I like. And I'm very happy for that. And I don't care what people think of me. I know I'm the best because I love my body.
I am beautiful. I'm unique, and I am beautiful, and I am also an independent woman.
I love the way I look because I am gorgeous, I am beautiful and strong and fearless because I'm fierce. For me, staying beautiful and being strong and confident, you get some boost of your looks when in the mirror and feel confident who you are.
Well, I love my look. It's my personality, my greatness personality, because I am who I am, but I love myself. I do. But for me, it's really cool to be my friends. It's here right now with me. It's these friends I have right now. Because I feel so great, because I feel so powerful, have these guns, because I got a great smile to my friends right here.
I'm okay with having Down syndrome.
So I agree here on this because it makes me me, and that my friends don't treat me like I'm just some random kid with Down syndrome. I'm happy for who I am. Sometimes my family, they kind of baby me a little bit, but if I'm with my friends, they don't try to baby me as much, and I'm happy for that. So for that reason, I'm happy because they're happy.
Me having Down syndrome, it's not really hard for me. It's just being who I am, and it just makes me special.
I am okay to be Down syndrome because I am not ashamed of who I am and what I look like, because I am beautiful, successful, business, confident, career woman.
That's right,
I
girl.
really strongly agree about what I am, and don't be ashamed.
I have Down syndrome, and I love who I am because I am really, really thankful to myself. I love myself. I love these guys to be my friends. Have Down syndrome, not really attached to me. Come here.
Aww.
I love to stay out late with my friends. I love partying with my friends.
Ain't that?
No matter what I do.
I'm confused. Wait. So who was blue t-shirt right here with? This guy right here. Was he dating the girl in the red? I think he's dating the girl in the red. Okay.
Even though I have a disability, I can still have fun, no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah.
My man. Very not impossible, guys. 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay. That was good. That was good. I think that was pretty cool. Oh, they have another one? Oh no, but this is like autism though. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Let me see. Mama just killed a man, but I gotta guess it.
I don't know, Halloween is just like...
Trigger, now he's there. Flat earthers versus scientists. Oh, that I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like it could get kind of heated in this one. Yeah, I mean it sounds interesting, but that sounds like it could get kind of spicy. Yeah, I know somebody might get punched in the face in this one.
Hey guys, welcome back to Middle Ground.
Before we jump in, we've got a huge announcement. A lot of folks have been asking for this for years. We're finally giving you the first ever Jubilee podcast called Radical Empathy.
That's right. We are really proud and excited to share it with you guys. It actually features an interview with this episode. So stick around until the end and we'll tell you more about it.
For now, enjoy the episode.
The one on my right is a sphere. If you think that is the shape of the Earth, point to it now. If you think the other model is the shape of the Earth, point to it now.
Yeah. This video's 34 minutes long. Oh boy.
1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
Now, I'm not gonna speak it. I'm not gonna speak it. I'm not gonna speak it. I'm gonna wait.
All step for man. 1 giant leap for mankind.
what do you think the shape of the Earth is?
I don't think, I know for a fact it's a globe.
The Earth is flat.
It's like we have this picture of reality that's a big puzzle piece,
and then one of those pieces just wasn't fitting.
I'm always open to having a discussion with someone who is holding a wrong belief like this.
Are you willing to change your mind on this?
I'm not. The evidence is so much.
Nobody wants to be a flat earther, but if you showed me incontrovertible evidence, I would definitely go back. Who wants the ridicule?
What are you hoping to get from the discussion with the other side?
I'd like to tear them to pieces.
Uh-oh. Ooh, here we go. Now, right? I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in there, okay? The Bible says the 4 corners of the earth, right? There are no corners on a sphere, okay? Now, I don't know. I'm just saying, okay? It's a lot of like, I never been in space. Have you been in space? The only people that I know go in space are, NASA and all these other people, right? I don't know anybody that went in space. Okay? We already know the government. We already know the government lies. Okay? They have a lot of evidence showing that when they went into space, you seen the video of the freaking, it was a rat like walking on the side of the spaceship. Like, it was a legit rat. Like, you could see it walking on the, and then it's a bunch of, I'm just saying, all right, it's kind of weird. All right, it's just kind of weird. I remember somebody wrote in the comments of like, I think it was on TikTok. Someone said, how did they call the president from the moon with no landline? And I thought about it, I'm like, because you got to remember, like, it was no cell phones back then. Like, I mean, we didn't really need, like, I don't, like, did we, like, actually really need satellites back then? I think we had satellites, but it's like, yeah, you get what I'm saying? It's not like we had internet and stuff like that, or Wi-Fi. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't have evidence that it's round. I don't have evidence that it's flat, but yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm Jim Underdown, executive.
Shoot, the Earth could be shaped like a freaking ice cream cone, and we wouldn't know. You get what I'm saying?
Executive Director of the Center for Inquiry West in Los Angeles and the chair of the CFI Investigations Group.
Did you know that NASA was originally like they originally was like for underwater? They wasn't for, like, they didn't work in space. They worked in the water, like for seas and stuff like that. Like under in the sea. They didn't work in freaking in outer space.
I'm Spencer Marks, one of the senior members of the CFI Investigations Group, Science Advocate.
I am Marina Yeri. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I'm with the University of Irvine.
I'm Wendell Walton. I'm a Chief Learning Officer for a young startup.
I'm Shelley Lewis. I'm a graduate of West Point, critical thinker, and jumped out of the airplanes.
My name is Dan Glattman. I work as Dan the Waterman in the drinking water filtration industry, and I'm a truth seeker.
I get my flat earthers on the left and my globe earthers on the right. Only step forward if this is true for you. I believe the earth was created by a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been a Christian for 30 years, so the Bible is a flat earth book. You have to take it literally. Like, for example, in Isaiah, when it talks about how the earth is like a clay wax seal that's stamped with upturned edges, that's just not some fancy story. That's a simile. It is like.
Right, absolutely. And in Isaiah it talks about too, and I'm a Christian, he who sits upon the circle of the earth. There's a difference between a circle and a ball.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
If you look at the original Hebrew, it means disc. There's over 200 scriptures in the Bible that point to a flat earth.
See, that's not, and right. It's been a big thing where it's like there's usually, why is this thing up here? Hold on. Get out of here. It's been a big thing where like it's science versus God. It's always been like that. Science versus God. Like a lot of people that believe in science usually don't believe in God.
So this notion that you need God or some higher power to create the earth or the universe is very old, and was
Here we go.
initially
Here we go.
posited by people
Pre-science. Yep.
pre-scientific
There we go. And I just say that. I just said it. I knew it. I freaking knew it.
We have learned quite a bit about the universe coming into existence, when that happened. Modern humans don't get their cosmology, they don't get their physics, they don't get their knowledge of the universe from the Bible or any ancient text.
It's sort of like the God of the gaps. Once, people used to believe that lightning was God's wrath and throwing these lightning bolts, but once we understood it was a natural process, God shrank a little bit more because now we couldn't attribute those lightning bolts to God. We had to attribute that to the real science. The other thing, the point about the Bible specifically for me is, why is that one particular text the correct one? You choose to believe that, and that's fine, but there's so many other writings and so many other books, so why weren't they correct? Why is just the Bible correct?
Well, what you'll find in a lot of these ancient religions is they're all flat earth religions. All their cosmology goes back to being a flat earth with an enclosed system. So it's not just the Bible that teaches this. It's many different religious books.
So one problem I have is trying to explain phenomena happening in nature by holy books. Those are religious books. Those are not books of science. And it is wrong to infer or deduct scientific readings out of those books.
My name is Wendell. I am a logical, biblically based, and scientific flat earther. I didn't start out, and no one starts out as a flat earther, but I had a lot of questions. So I actually got to the point where I had to go out and put my own eyeballs on it. So we went out to an observation at Salton Sea, and things just didn't add up down there. So we've gone back probably a dozen times, and I can guarantee you that there is no curvature over distance.
The internet has played an important role in confirming my view of this topic.
That's the problem.
Well, we have the advantage of information today that's outside of...
Oh boy, you hear that? There we go. That's the problem. A little side talk.
2, 4, and 7, and the few networks that are corporately owned. It's pretty easy to say YouTube isn't research, but when you spend enough time, you're picking up quite a bit. And with the discussion groups, panels, we've gone against opposition. We've opposed ourselves. Surprisingly enough, flat Earth is its own worst enemy. So it's not that easy for us to come to consensus. And we find that consensus is orchestrated and not actually scientific in any way.
You know, my grandfather used to tell me growing up, never believe anything you read in the newspaper, right? He told that to me. Now, with the age of the internet, it's like, how much of this misinformation are you getting there? And when you have like eyewitnesses taking video of something, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. That's why, because of my multimedia background, I knew that all that stuff could be faked. Take it into Photoshop, take it into After Effects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is at the core of the issue of why there are so many flat earth believers out there right now. The problem is the information from someone who decides to start a website or produce a YouTube video is not reliable. When I have a toothache, I go to a dentist. When my car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. When you have questions about cosmology, you should go to an astrophysicist, you should go to a physicist, you should go to people who have spent years and years studying these ideas, not some 6-minute YouTube video. There is a percentage of people that if they saw a YouTube video that was not within their scientific chops to refute on the face of it, would believe anything out there.
One of the things I will say is NASA.gov has their own documents out there that we get to vet, which is through the Freedom of Information Act. And would you agree that NASA documents, if they're on display, that we should be able to go and research inside there?
NASA is not proving that the Earth is flat.
Well, they say it in 14 of the documents.
You should read what NASA says, and you should listen to what
I
NASA
would
says.
love to see your NASA
All-
evidence.
Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. Oh, boy. We seen it coming. We seen it coming, all right? We seen it. Here we go. I want to see you prove the scientific fact that the Earth is flat. The Earth is flat, you know? We have scientific evidence, you know what I'm saying? I never been in space, but I know it's not flat, okay? I've seen videos through a fisheye lens, by the way, okay? Yeah, the Earth is not flat, all right? It's a curvature, even though the it's a fisheye lens on the camera that they use. Golly.
Only their contradictory issues
Okay,
that
let's
bring
see.
us here.
We're all familiar with the Earthrise photo, right? The Earth is rising over the moon. We're all familiar with it. That's NASA. You can go out to NASA's site. You can download the original, right?
I already know what you're going to ask.
So you bring up the luminance on it, and you can see where it's cut out and pasted there.
They're showing us doctored images that are clearly doctored. The blue marble is a very famous image from 1972. When you talk to the artist from NASA, his name is Robert Simmons, he talks about exactly how it was created from data, and it's not a photograph whatsoever. He added
what?
clouds.
Let me explain.
He added
Hold
a
on.
highlight of the
if
sun.
you take, on your phone, most phones have that panoramic image. When you do that, you're taking a series of pictures, and the phone cleverly stitches
I'm
that
just
together.
saying how it's
Hold on.
presented. It's
Hold on.
presented as a real
So
photograph.
when NASA takes real photos and they either clean them up for color or they stitch them together so it's one large image, it doesn't mean they're CGI.
You're talking about composites. I'm what you call a globe denier.
Yeah, he's hard. I know this guy right here. He's deep in, all right? You can't tell him nothing. This is the guy, all right? This is the guy that you need. Like, this is the guy that they needed in the movie Independence Day, okay? He'll be like, listen, there's spaceships. You guys don't freaking believe me. I know there's spaceships, all right? This is him, all right? A globe denier, exactly. As he has his own alias, okay? He has his own nickname. He's like, I'm not a flat earther. I'm a globe denier, okay? He's like a step above that, all right?
You could even get me into a virtual construct if I can't find the borders myself.
What shape would you say you think the Earth is?
It appears to me to be a stationary plane, as opposed to the vastness of infinity of space. I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there. These particular people have misled us on television. This is a brilliant opportunity to speak. We've been suppressed, censored by mainstream media. Alternative media is just a thing of beauty for me.
Now, the thing is, though, right? They both sides have a good point about whatever, right? Scientists believe in mathematics and all this stuff, and I said mathematics, and whatever. And then you got the globe deniers, right? That are like, well, I never been in space. They're on that kind of thing where it's like they're more religious. They're going by little things that they observe. And yeah, not going by measurements and all this stuff. Like, it was this thing. I know this might be a little off topic, right? But I remember somebody had that's what it was. Someone drew the Milky Way or whatever, right? And people were commenting, oh, it's so pretty, all this stuff. And so I wrote a comment. I said, but how do you know if our Milky Way actually looks like that? And they're like, well, what do you mean? You know, we got the stars. We measure the stars and all that. I'm like, yeah, but you never been outside of our Milky Way to know what it looks like. You get what I'm saying? That's like being in a house, right? It's like being in a house your whole life and saying, oh yeah, my house is my house has a dome roof, but you never been outside your house. And some people are like, well, it makes a good point. We don't know, we just kind of guesstimate, what it looks like. I'm like, exactly. We don't know what our galaxy looks like. We never flew out that far. We could barely make it to freaking Mars. I don't even think we actually made it to Mars. We sent like drones and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
I view the other side as uneducated.
I'm running.
Uh-oh.
They think they are uneducated?
Uh-oh.
Well, they certainly think they're educated.
And they're following quite a bit of the university system, what we call scientism.
Right, scientism.
Obviously is the belief in what's written, where we tend to be exploring in the field with physical properties, not theories of any kind. We're using actual measurements that are calculated not by our guidelines, but the guidelines of science as we know it. I can only hope they're uneducated as opposed to disingenuous.
Well, that's the other thing too, because we know that it was on a large scale, the government has been disingenuous.
Uh-oh, yep, see? There we go, yep, I told you. It's always the government. It's something, it's like a big conspiracy, all right? These are the type of dudes that, like, legit, if they gave them drinks before this conversation, they would be fighting, I guarantee you. They'd be like, oh, you think the scientist dudes would be like, oh, you think I spent 12 years in Yale so you could say I'm not, that I'm an idiot, or that I'm, what they called it? Disingenuous, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, they would be brawling right now.
And they're pushing a narrative, right? So it's hard for us. I mean, I'm sure.
And then the guy in the red, he'd be like, our government, they always lie to us. They always have lied to us. The earth is flat. And then the other guy, the Indian dude back here, be like, you're an idiot, whatever.
Met people too. It's like, what, are you you haven't looked into it yet? Or are you a shill? Are you part of a disinformation campaign?
Exactly.
I don't think you guys are uneducated. I think you're wrongly educated.
I think the problem with what I've seen in the flat earth crowd is that it's not that they're undereducated, but they, instead of looking at evidence and letting the evidence guide to where the ultimate conclusion is, they start with a conclusion and then they try to cherry pick evidence to support their pre-drawn conclusion. They cast away all the bits of evidence that actually is contrary to their belief system.
I think that you're very well educated as well as you are, Jim.
But, certainly Ali is. He's probably got the best education of all of us.
Exactly, and he paid for it too. But more and more professionals are coming on board. They're starting to question their reality. So the thing of it is once you start to really take a hard look at the evidence, and you are unafraid of just standing for the truth wherever that may lead you, then people end up becoming flat earthers.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
I'm hoping to be able to tell our side of the story from the inside out. So many times, flat earthers are depicted from the outside in, and I want to be able to share with others empirical data that proves the earth is not what we've been told.
This is just like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like back in the old days, they used to think that, they used to think that if you like rode your boat too far, you would fall off the earth. That's what it reminds me. I mean, but if you think about it, right? If you think about it, now there's always some kind of truth to like a myth, right? It's like, who would actually think that if you know what I'm saying? It's just like people saying they seen Bigfoot. I'm not gonna make up saying, oh, I saw a flying cat, right? If I didn't see a flying cat. You know, somebody had to actually see something in order to even comprehend and to think and to actually like, you know, put it out there. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, just like Loch Ness Monster, the freaking all these other dragons and all this stuff. You know, I mean, listen, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a reason why they thought of that. You know.
I have changed my mind at some point about this topic.
So when I was 12 years old, I went to space camp, and I met Alan B. Shepard.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be the first woman to walk the moon.
Oh.
So for me...
All right, Sam. Thanks for joining. Have a good one, buddy.
I'm a glober. I went into this completely wanting it to be true. And my husband told me, you know, he saw this thing about the fake moon landing. And I was like, you're absolutely crazy.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
There's no way that the moon landings are fake. And then in 2010, my husband was killed. And so I never really developed that until around 2014 when Flat Earth kind of came back up. And that little voice inside my head said, remember the fake moon landings? Remember when that was brought to my attention? And then I started really critically analyzing that. And I would say, you know, just looking at that evidence, if they can lie about the moon landings, they can certainly lie about pictures and satellites and other things.
Yes.
And so I started going down that rabbit hole of studying. So that was my influence from my husband.
How many lies does it take to make a liar, right?
And being ridiculed for being inquisitive is pretty tough on us. I wouldn't say that I've changed my mind because my mind isn't set. NASA is solely designed to change my mind. It is, from its inception, from its discovery, has been a television program, it's been a space program to sell us on something that they've yet to actually show us. Show me a globe spinning with clouds and a moon, show me home, and I think I could shut up easily. I think I could shut up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The timing of your conversions is interesting to me. 20 years ago, the flat Earth world was tiny and insignificant. Enter the advent of the internet, YouTube, online discussion groups, all these new available places where you could find information about everything.
This is true that the evidence as you looked were not robust evidence. And the sources you used, they were not reliable sources again. But my problem is that, and I like you guys that you are very skeptical, but at the same time, you are not skeptical about your belief system.
You
That
keep
should
going
have come
back.
first.
You think that that's my foundation for why I believe the earth is flat. And I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Okay.
I have evidence that proves it's flat.
What type
or
of
proves
evidence,
it's not
you know?
a ball.
What type of
Curvature,
evidence?
We're being misled. We're being deliberately misled by mainstream
Now,
media.
what's your evidence?
We see too far. We see too far. We should not be able to see. I live in Dana Point.
Okay.
I can see San Clemente Island, which is 60 miles away.
So what?
What do you mean, so what?
No, I'm
It's
on the
1,100
beach. I'm
feet
on
tall.
the beach.
It is
What do you mean by
tall.
so
I'm
what?
on the beach.
And you see a ship which is going.
We're
Oh
not
yeah,
talking
let's talk about the ship that goes
Yes,
over the curvature
okay.
of the earth. I love
So-
that. So science has said that when I see a ship go out of my field of view, it's going over the curvature of the earth, correct?
Yes.
But then I bring my P900 up, and guess what? I can zoom it back in.
Not
So
all
is
of
it
it,
going over the curvature of the earth or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, not all the
No, you
time?
can't.
Not
No,
all the time?
the bottom part of the ship
Yes.
is hidden by the
At that
curvature.
distance, you shouldn't see the top
At
of it
all.
either.
If the Earth were truly flat, there would be really hardly any limit. You'd be able to stand at the top of the Empire State Building and look towards Chicago, a mere 1,000 miles away, and see the lights of Chicago at night.
No,
Why wouldn't
no, because you have an atmospheric disturbance.
Very thick.
I've been
water
into
alone.
astronomy since I was 10.
It's faulty logic. It's completely faulty logic.
Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. Now, I personally, I would like to believe that it's flat, personally, right? I personally kind of think it's flat. I'm not like a crate, like I'm not like one of these though. I'm not like you know, it's flat. Da, 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 da. I think it's probably flat, to be honest with you. Okay, only because I don't believe our government. I don't trust our government, and that's like one of the main reasons why I think it's flat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And I like I said, I haven't visually seen it for myself. So I'm not going to take nobody's word for it. Especially not the people that work with the government like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've just now really telling us about aliens, even though we knew that aliens existed. You get what I'm saying? I bet you in like another like 200 years or so, if we're still around, they're gonna tell us like, hey, the earth is flat or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then I have a more interesting.
Okay.
One of the big things I do is investigate extraordinary claims like flat eartherism or ESP or all sorts of different things. The Earth is undoubtedly a globe and not flat. This is well supported by gobs of science.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Scientific consensus is possible.
What is the question?
I don't understand the question.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Possible. Anything is possible. I mean, anything is possible. I've got a tremendous issue with consensus and peer review. I've been spending a lot of time arguing with people that argue the other side. And I found that surprisingly, consensus always wins. It was shocking to me that the group with the majority has an incredible advantage. As scientists, flat earthers, truthers, punks, we're at an incredible disadvantage.
Let's talk about scientific consensus for a second. You're never going to get 100% of anyone. There is scientific consensus on a global Earth. There's scientific consensus on evolution. A lot of big issues.
Use the word theory.
Do you know what a theory in science is? An extremely
And a fact
Let
is
me-
a fact.
Don't mistake this word theory.
You are.
In
not me.
science, it's not conjecture. It's not.
It's an explanation. Is by definition,
well-
it's an
well
explanation.
supported
It's a
definition.
deep.
Well, let's talk
So this
about
is
a fact.
something
Show me a
people
fact
made
then.
a mistake.
Why
They
aren't
think
all
theory
facts?
is
In science, the word theory is the highest level that you can give something because it's so well supported.
What about a fact?
That is a fact. It's
Not a fact. You would call it a fact.
You know why? Do you know why? because in science, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to find to tweak and find better information.
So that is.
But if it's, that doesn't make any sense. So if it's room, that means there's room for it to be false. So that means that it's not really, then it is a theory. Okay, a fact is hard facts. If I freaking stub my toe, I stubbed my toe. Okay? If I break my toe, then I break my toe. If I stub my toe kind of hard, I might have broken it. You know what I'm saying?
This is how science works.
It gets better, refined over time, as opposed to flat earth theory, which never gets refined. It simply is what it is.
New ideas have limited access to media and limited exposure. Until we're in university curriculums, we will continue to appear uneducated.
Well, that's not true. In the history of science, we had many occasions that the ideas, it was not welcomed by the society. Einstein was one of them. Galileo was one of them. But if your theory is an authentic one, and it can go through this hardship of scientific method, eventually will win.
I used to believe that science was after the truth, right? We all just want to know what the truth is. Science has been trying so hard to divorce itself from the idea of a creator when God's intent was to create science to lead you to him. You know, sometimes things seem supernatural that we are able to explain later through, science. Okay, I understand. But there are other things as well that are supernatural, that go beyond the natural, that we can only explain through believing in a creator, right?
This is my big issue with science, scientific approach and non-scientific approach. You are absolutely right. In science, we are after the truth. And we are hoping by each day we're getting closer and closer to the truth. We never get there. Never.
Well, I know that's true for you. And
No, that's a science. That's you guys. You think you do have the truth. Now let's look at the evidences. As you were mentioning, you do have the conclusion. Let's find the evidences. Science doesn't work that way.
That's not true. That is not
Well,
true.
you are saying you are referring to Jesus, who many billions of people do not believe, including myself.
And many more billions do.
So what?
So who's right?
Of course I can.
When you say that we start with a conclusion and then try to match everything to make it work, like that to me is complete dishonesty. That is not true at all.
That is what you are doing
no,
right
you're
now.
not. You're making that assumption,
No,
which
it's
I
not
think
my
science does a
assumption.
lot of.
Well,
so do you make assumptions or not? Does
I
science
don't
make
know.
assumptions? Does science
No,
make
let me-
assumptions?
Yeah,
Of course.
sure.
Okay.
We do
course.
make assumptions
But-
based on things that are well supported and proven and reproven. We don't have
Show
to.
me how you isolate gravity. If gravity
We
is
don't
an
have to-
assumption, show me in the scientific method how you isolate gravity.
We've done that actually.
Let's cool off
Yeah, sure.
and reset.
You're like a round hard candy.
Conclusions require knowledge.
I just want to check in. How are you guys feeling? How's this discussion going?
I kind of feel like I want to develop some of this stuff a little bit more. It feels high level, but I feel like there's so much that I haven't really even touched base on.
Well, I mean, I certainly didn't think that anybody was on either side was going to flip.
Well, there's still time.
There's still time. I have hope for you, Wendell, and Shelley. I don't know about Dan. I have hope for you too. But, it's certainly, I'm glad it's a civil discussion, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Put your waters to the side, and we'll do another round.
Hey, one more side.
Good.
He flipped! Wendell, welcome aboard.
Welcome.
The greatest moment in television history right there.
Good day.
All right. NASA is trustworthy.
No. Nope. I don't believe it.
So, I mean, obviously any organization can be wrong with certain things, and they may have individuals that lie or deceive or something, but as a general organization, they're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the idea that NASA and the government is lying to us about the shape of the Earth is the height of conspiracy theories. In order for this to be true, the literally hundreds of thousands of people who at some point over the last 50 or 60 years would had to be somewhat complicit in this, and nobody spills the beans at all, is on the face of it completely unbelievable.
I think what it is more of a like the reason why I'm like more on the flat earth side, right, is because like I said, I don't have proof. I never seen, like, I could look and say, hey, I see the the Empire State Building, so I know it's there. You know what I mean? With this situation, it's like I never personally experienced it. All right. Not only that, the government has lied about things in the past, and for whatever reason, they would find out the truth and just hold it from us. You know, you want to know why? Because either people are gonna panic, be pissed off, right, or they don't want to seem wrong. You know, it's gonna be one of those three, or all three. And then after that, it's gonna open up other doors. All right, well, what else could they lie to us about? You get what I'm saying? Same with the reason why I think that they admitted to the aliens is because, first of all, people are legit recording it, right? People are seeing it. People are seeing these things flying. You got pilots, military pilots, saying, "Hey, there's this unidentified flying, you know." And they couldn't hold on for that for too much longer. Okay, they couldn't hold on to that. There's literally recordings of spaceships flying over different capital cities around the world. So yeah, like that's something that they couldn't hide for too much longer.
The private does not know what the general is doing. There's compartmentalization happening all the time.
Of course.
So it wouldn't be that far-fetched. Has the government ever lied to us is really the question at stake.
We all agree on that.
Yeah, but now we
Common ground.
Now we have NASA.gov, right? And absolutely, they're not lying about anything. They're completely transparent. Everything is true. We'd be foolish to think that's true.
There's a difference here. I'm sorry. This is a fallacy here. There's
not
a
fallacy.
I'm sure it is.
Go ahead.
You were talking about a government. Now you're talking about an agency of the government.
NASA.gov.
But this agency is scrutinized by thousands and thousands of scientists around the globe. You are dealing with smart people, believe me. You are dealing with smart people.
I don't deny that.
So it is very hard to do that. Once or twice, maybe. Not for the all time.
Raise your hand if you think we went to the moon.
What is the proof? Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of moon rocks and dust. And we have distributed those freely to PhD scientists around the world. And not one of those geologists have said, what is this?
Been proven to be fake.
And also
Yes.
collected on the ice in Antarctica and in the Arctic as well. Those are collected. You don't have to go to the moon to get moon rocks. As a matter of fact, all U.S. Air Force photography prior to 1958 shows a flat Earth. Only NASA shows
That's
a
not
sphere.
true. That is absolutely not true,
Jim. I wouldn't lie to you.
And the other
NASA's lying to you, my friend.
The other bit of proof
not myself.
is we have a laser retroreflector on the moon.
Yeah.
That we're using now.
We still use to this day.
It's sitting there.
You can find to the inch how far away the moon is.
No pictures of home.
That only is there. By the
No,
way,
there are not.
My question to you is, why? Why would all these honest, hardworking people perpetuate this massive fraud?
For money. For money. Why do anybody work? For money. It's the reason why people go to college. It's for money at the end of the day. They're trying to make money. Point blank, period. You know? It's just like when cops beat people up and then someone in the station doesn't report them, right? A good cop doesn't report them. You know why? Because they have a family to feed, okay? They have a job to do.
Why would they do this?
What's the benefit of doing
Okay,
that?
the benefit of it. They make $52 million a day. Follow them.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I wish more people was watching me right now. I love you all, and if anybody's watching. But yeah.
Money.
No, the little
Follow
guy.
the money.
The little guy.
That's what, then when you say all, okay?
But it didn't start out that way. And NASA was not founded to prove the Earth was a globe. It had nothing to do with the way
It's
they
for
were
the
founded.
water.
If you go and study
Are you
the
sure?
Yeah, positive.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be a voice for reason, and somebody has to be a voice for truth.
It was for underwater.
It would be a fantasy to believe that I would change anybody's mind from the other three. However, if there's somebody sitting on the fence, and this is the first introduction to this debate, perhaps they'll hear the reasonable voice and say, yeah, that makes more sense than having this pizza-shaped Earth.
I can put myself in the mindset of the other side.
I used to be a ball earther. Everything you say right now is completely what I used to agree to. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
For me, I think the correct way to do any kind of investigation or to examine things is by literally putting yourself in that mindset of the other person. So I do that. I disagree with your position, but I completely understand from your perspective what you're saying.
The trouble I have understanding your perspective is, in the modern world, unless you live in a cave somewhere, you have to believe in science implicitly. I met a flat earther, a young woman who said, I don't trust anything that science does. And that's a problem because human beings can't replicate the whole body of science every single generation. At some point, you have to trust what's already been discovered and proven and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, we're not going to advance at all. I mean, when you turn that key ignition in your car, you expect the car to start out.
And not blow up.
And not blow up, because science puts you in that position. So it's really hard to understand how people would know in their hearts that science achieves wonderful things and then just jumping ship when it comes to this other issue.
We're not drawing conclusions. We understand the mechanisms that made that car work. There is no theories and no disputed conclusions involved there. It's not a good analogy. Can I admit a great compromise that we have to experience being against the grain people is we have to literally sit in a group and decide whether or not we can afford to have an opinion, and that's tough.
I agree with you there, because we're the same thing. I mean, I think skeptics go through this and atheists go through this. I don't believe in God. When I'm around religious people, I take a chance socially when I tell them I'm an atheist. So I know it takes some courage to follow your beliefs, and I appreciate that. But I think I've done a lot of research in that venue too. And it's not something I choose to believe in, it's something I have to believe in based on the evidence.
See, what I get from you guys is that seeing is believing. So how come you believe in God
Exactly,
or Jesus?
yes.
You haven't seen neither of them, right?
I've seen evidence, though.
Well, exactly. So we are looking for evidence. There are many, many other evidences for Earth not being flat. My point is that these experiments clearly show that the Earth is globe. And you don't need to go outside the globe to see it's globe.
It's a
You told me you
theoretical-
want the evidence. If you're
That's
saying
not-
that you look only to see something, then I dispute your belief system in God and Jesus or Jehovah or Buddha or Zarathustra or anyone.
You keep going back to religion as
Because
being
it's
our
coming
conclusion.
from there.
No,
You think you do have the
I
truth.
have evidence. I have evidence.
You
for
quoted
what I
at the
know.
beginning of this. You quoted Bible.
Of
That's
course
the
I did,
reason.
but that is not the only reason I know what the shape of the Earth is, and you keep that's fallacy.
It's not fallacy.
It is a
Actually, it
fallacy.
is not fallacy.
It is a fallacy.
I'm a theoretical physicist. What I'm doing is the combination of string theory and cosmology. So we try to understand what happened during the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, or even before the Big Bang.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
Well, I hope I would be able, particularly to the young generation, to convince them that first, they should think critically and don't believe anything. They shouldn't take anything for granted. Look at the evidences and examine those evidences and throw away those claims that are not evidence-based.
Science, not to put it down, but when you're talking about rocket science, this is very difficult for the majority of people to understand, and it's designed that way. And so, in a lot of ways, hiding behind rocket science is similar to religion. If you look at the Catholic Church back in the days, only we can interpret the Bible, you have to listen to what we say. So in a lot of ways, we're getting that same notion from science that says, only we can interpret what these numbers are, you just need to trust us. But then when we actually do go and test some of their...
Hey, I'm making all that noise. Y'all hear my bird making all that noise?
equations and they don't work, does that beg the question for us to go and test it ourselves? Absolutely.
I would say, one great thing about science is its predictability. Let's for a short moment, assume that your model, this flat earth model, is correct. I don't know, what does it buy for us? What does it predict for us? So my question for you guys would be, next time, bring me something from your theory, your model, that you can predict.
Now, I think it's more of it's a very religious thing. I think it's mostly because of religion and, like they said, it's more of a eyes on thing. Like they haven't seen it, they haven't experienced it itself, whatever. Yeah, I think that's what it really is. And then not only that, you got passages from the Bible saying that it's, that it hints that it's flat and stuff like that. And then you got, on the other side of science side, you got the government, but they lie and all this stuff. So it's like, it's a real tough subject. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows. Like, we don't know, because we could believe in NASA, but NASA is, they might as well say that's the government. Like, let's be real. Even though NASA's like its own private little thing, right? But still. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's up in the air for me.
Predict something which the globe Earth model cannot predict. Then I would change my mind.
I would just say that don't believe anything that I've said. You got to do your own research. And I think what you'll find is that you'll see that a puzzle piece doesn't fit. And the only way you're going to do that is if you put your own eyeballs on it.
I don't blame people for being
Exactly.
skeptical. I'm skeptical about a lot of different things. I applaud that instinct in you. But you have to go beyond just not believing in something. Ask the hard questions. Ask what qualifies a YouTuber, a book author, anywhere else you're getting this information. What qualifies them to make wide-ranging comments about the shape of the earth? Look, anybody who can overturn Einstein or some major theory is going to be eventually written in the halls of science for the rest of their lives. But they have to come up with the goods. They have to show good science-based evidence that what they say is true, and they have to withstand the test of time and peer review and the rigors of the scientific method.
All right. Thank you. I'm all with.
All right, that was a good discussion. That was a good one. It got a little tense, but yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think the Earth is flat? Is it round? What do you guys think? How you guys feel? Like I said, I'm more on the flat side, right? And I already told you why. Like, I didn't see. I don't know, right? I don't know. Me personally, I don't really trust the government. Okay. They told us things to keep things secret for a long time. And they do that for their own interests usually, right? Or because they don't want to seem wrong and lose the trust of the people or what have you, even though they're like deceiving they could be very like conniving, like they don't want to lie to you, but they are lying to you, so they don't want to reveal that lie because then they'll seem like they don't know what the heck they're talking about. So it's, yeah. But all right, guys, I'm going to finish up this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to hit that follow button on Twitch. You can follow me on you can find me on YouTube if you type in !socials down in the chat, or you can go to the about page and my Twitch. Okay. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see y'all later. I'll probably stream a little later on. All right, I'm gonna take me a nap. I'm tired. All right, later, y'all.